Hey up, it's the Blunt Yorkshireman here, providing you bracing opinion on all things pop culture. As grand a county as Yorkshire is, there has of course been some bad things to come out of these great lands. I mean, off the top of my head, I can think of the calendar news bulletins, Sheffield Wednesday Football Club, and that creepy nonce from Leeds who were always in that daft shell suit. Hollywood is no different, and recently an absolute stinking pile of dung came out from there. No, not that pile of dung, this pile of dung. Terminator Dark Fate. So while I've been socially distancing from the sheep, the pigs, and the cows at me farm, I've been thinking about why Dark Fate was so crap.
What is crap?
Firstly, doing a sequel to Terminator 2 is a bad idea in the first place. Only a daft bugger would think it was sensible to make a sequel to one of the best films ever, and wait 30 years later, when your main star is now a 70-year-old donkey shagger. Your leading lady smoked more cigs than Deirdre from Coronation Street, and the kid star looks like Gollum on crack. It's a bit like Britain's favourite artist suddenly deciding to do a new version of his masterpiece, but waiting until he was an old fella, you know, when he needed bifocals and his hand weren't as steady as it once was. It just shouldn't happen, because it just won't be as good. And let's not forget, a big part of the success of the Terminator franchise was because it starred Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. That time has long since passed, and no amount of de-aging effects can bring it back. A bit like our lass's youthful good looks, which are long, long gone, sadly. The second main reason it was crap is because it was filled with that identity politics and extreme feminism, which outside the bubble of Hollywood is not popular, especially here in Yorkshire. In Dark Fate, all the blokes have been replaced with lasses. There's no John Connor or Kyle Reese, and Arnie's been demasculinised and turned into some kind of housewife character or summit. I mean, just consider how ridiculous that is for a minute. An almost indestructible killing machine, spending his time changing nappies and doing the ironing. I'm all for helping the missus out with the housework and that, you know, showing her where we keep dusters, but blooming heck, this is pushing it. I actually think replacing all the blokes with lasses and calling it original is insulting to lasses who, like blokes, just want to see some original female characters, you know, who are courageous, intelligent and interesting, like Sarah Connor, Ellen Ripley or Pat Sharp. We don't want to see blokes being replaced by lasses and then lasses just acting like blokes. We had all that in the 1990s with Sarah Cox, Sporty Spice, and of course last summer in the Amateur World Cup with that Megan Rapido lass.
What is crap?
The one bloke who were in Dark Fate looked like some teenager from Wakefield wearing his granddad's shirts. He was about as menacing a villain as Dick Dastardly and kept getting beaten up by the lasses. I suppose to emphasise that lasses are strong and tough and all that, but because this kept happening all the time, it removed any sense that he was a formidable or threatening opponent.
What is crap?
I'm sure this identity politics and radical feminism belongs somewhere, but it definitely doesn't belong in an 80s, 90s sci-fi franchise starring a randy Austrian bodybuilder and whose fan base is predominantly men who are now at an age when they can't get through the night without needing a piss, if you know what I mean.
What is crap?
Thirdly, we had the director, Tim Miller, mouthing off in the newspapers before the film came out, calling all Terminator fans misogynists or summit. I don't know whether he's got some chip on his shoulder, you know, if he was made to join the netball team at school or play with She-Ra instead of an E-Man figure. But there were no need for this. Oh, and let's be honest, Tim Miller, if you've been married to Mrs. Blunt Yorkshireman for 50 years, you'd be a bloody misogynist and all.
Oh, it's crap.
Yorkshiremen are tight with money at the best of times, so having a pop at them isn't exactly going to encourage them to part with their hard-earned cash down at Keighley Picture House. Miller and the producers arrogantly forgot that it's your fan base that buy your product. A feminist version of Terminator 2 might appeal to a couple of Corbynista students with double-barrelled surnames, but it isn't going to appeal to fans of the originals who see the film multiple times if they like it and buy up merchandise and that. Finally, and most criminal, Dark Fate does not respect the canon and build on the storylines carefully crafted in Terminator 1 and Terminator 2. Terminator Dark Fate does not build on the story. It just delivers a bargain basement version of Terminator 2. Like that kid who had rickets, who were the bargain bin version of Gary Barlow.
Oh, it's crap.
But most criminal, Dark Fate sets out to destroy the canon and legacy of the first films. John Connor, the future saviour of mankind and son of Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor, is callously killed off in the first 2 minutes, and we're now supposed to accept that some pint-sized Spanish lass is now the future warrior and humanity's salvation. The decision to kill John made the first 2 films like a pair of Yorkshire steelworkers, totally redundant by 1990. And no Yorkshireman, or indeed Lancastrian, could ever forgive such a terrible plot decision.
Oh, it's crap.
What annoys me even more is James Cameron was livid when 2 of his favourite characters from Aliens, Corporal Hicks and the little lass Newt, were callously killed off during the opening credits of Alien 3, making the end parts of Aliens, where Ripley, Hicks, Newt and Bishop escape, totally pointless. And now he's gone and done the same with Terminator. I just don't get what he were thinking to allow this. He must have spent too long skinny dipping in Umber or summit. Oh, and let's not forget him fibbing about Edward Furlong being in Terminator Dark Fate. We've not forgotten James Cameron, you lying bastard. So, what they did to John, coupled with Tim Miller's pre-release insults, made it look like they were sticking 2 fingers up at the Terminator fan base. Well, they certainly got 2 fingers back stuck at them, didn't they? Take that, you bastards.
Oh, it's crap.
I'm really sad that this cesspit of a film is probably the last time we'll see Arnold Schwarzenegger in his signature role. I'll also be really sad if this film impacts negatively on the actress Mackenzie Davis, who plays Grace. I think she's a really good actress, and it's not her fault that she was asked to play a bloke, so I hope she goes on to do okay despite this monstrosity. Where Dark Fate has succeeded, it succeeded in leaving the Terminator franchise in utter ruins, much like Los Angeles of 2029 that John Connor and Kyle Reese spent their time in. I suppose one silver lining out of this might be that producers and directors, especially in light of the cowpox pandemic, which has made cash harder to come by, won't be so keen to fund rubbish like this. And who knows, it might teach Tim Miller and the other Hollywood types that films sapped with radical feminism and identity politics don't make any bloody money.
Oh, it's crap.
Hey up. Anyway, I better go. I've heard there's poachers on land, so I need to clear 'em off with me trusty phrase plasma rifle. Ho ho ho. I'll see thee later.